There are nearly 3.5 billion people that watch soccer or football, depending who watches this video. And more specifically, nearly 328 people watched the Euros in 2020. And over the past few years, one of the biggest industries that have come to light is something called gambling, and more specifically, sports gambling. Now, I don't condone any of this. I've actually never placed a bet. But times are getting tough, and since I'm a developer, I thought to myself, hey, I can code, I love watching sports, I'm actually pretty good at predicting who's gonna win a match. Why not develop something that could predict the winner of a matchup? And since the Euro knockout stages is coming out as you're watching this video, I think it's a perfect time to try to develop a program that predicts the winner of a matchup. And so the first thing I did was just do some research. I wanted to see firstly how the odds of gambling works. So I just looked at that and I looked at how gambling companies set those odds because they want to make money. So that's how they make their money. In addition, I looked at some podcasts from Joe Rogan. He interviewed some people about this topic. And overall, I really delved deep into the sports gambling industry. And by the end of the research, this is what I found. The things they take into consideration are the health of the players, like who's playing, their previous matchups, the best player on the team, their current rankings, their previous games. In addition, some secret things, maybe like they do their own research where they like know some players that may not be playing before the news knows about it. But overall, they just take a bunch of things into consideration and then make a formula to create the odds, with obviously the hope of making a profit off of that, with the loser being you who's gambling. And real quick, before getting into this, I don't condone gambling. This is not going to be a gambling thing. I'm not going to use it for gambling. This is just purely for the sake of just fun. I want to see how accurate I can predict a score. That's it. Don't do that stuff, okay? Just don't. And so once I had everything and I did my research and I found everything that I needed to find out, it was time to start building out the actual app. And so the first thing I did was just create a JSON file with the different parameters that we needed to create the predictor. And the different parameters that we will be focusing on is the team's ranking, the team's last 5 games, the team's goal difference over those last 5 games, finally the user's personal prediction on who's going to win the game. And so let's just go over those real quick, okay? And so we're taking into consideration the team's ranking, obviously, because FIFA does this rankings every year or every month, I'm not too sure, where they rank the best teams, and that's a big deal because it's usually accurate on who's the best. And right now it's like Argentina, France, and that's going to play the biggest role in who's going to win these games. In addition, the last 5 games of the Euros I'm taking into consideration here because form plays a really big role in soccer, and for this program I'm doing that for the sake of this. We're also taking into consideration the goal difference, and if you don't know what goal difference is basically like, let's say you're a team that has played 10 games and in those 10 games you've scored 10 and conceded 12 goals, you would have a goal difference of -2. And that's important because it shows how dominant a team is, and I think that's a big deal. And the final thing we'll be taking into consideration here in the data is the user's own prediction on the matter. I feel like the big issue with software, and now with the issue with AI, is that we're over relying on the program and not giving too much leeway on the actual human being. And I think giving some leeway to the person that's inputting the program and who they think is going to win give us a better chance of being accurate, because sports is such a crazy thing, especially soccer. There's a lot of upsets, and what I think is the program, especially if it's close, will tip towards what the user thinks if they think there's going to be an upset in some way. Now it was time to actually take that data, like the goal difference in the last 5 games and the team rankings, and create an algorithm that we can use. We will first be associating each team with the parameters that we just talked about, and then we're going to create a simple calculation where we will be calculating the total number of the team's last 5 games, where a win is a 1, a loss is a -1, and a tie is a 0. And so let's say over the last 5 games, the team won 4 and lost 1. The 4 wins would count as 4 because 4 ones, like each win is 1, and the 1 loss would make it 3 because it's negative. And so that's one of the calculations. And then the next calculation will be the ranking score from FIFA. And since the lower the number is the better, because you know number 1's the best, we're going to be reversing that, where we're subtracting that ranking by 100. And the higher that number is, obviously the better. So let's say your ranking is 2nd in the world, which is France right now. Your score here would be 98. And finally, we will be taking the team's goal difference. So like we said, let's say the team's goal difference over the past 5 games is 6. We will be adding that to the calculation. And then finally, we're just adding all of those together. And so for example, let's say your form score was a 5, your ranking team score is a 95, and your goal difference was a 5. Your total team score then would be 100. And then the final part of this calculation is taking into consideration the user's prediction on who is going to win. We're basically grabbing the team's score and we are multiplying it by 1.1. And I don't know how to explain this in like math terms. I just know in code, we're just adding 10% to the winning team. Let's say we're comparing two teams where team A has 100 as their total score and team B has a total score of 95. If the user picks team B, we're adding 10% on top of that. And so that would give team B an extra 9.5 points. Real quick, I need to get a sip of water, dude. And so once I had the algorithm ready and the math sort of sorted out, I had to put this to practice. And so the first thing I did was create the UI. Looks like shit, I know. And the questions we're asking the user is to pick a team A, a team B, the game types, whether it's like a playoff game or a regular game, and finally the user's predictions. And so once we had that, we had to implement the actual program. We're basically just grabbing the data from this JSON file. And in here, we're grabbing each team and we're calculating their form score, which is their last 5 games accumulated, their ranking score, so the team's rankings in FIFA, and finally just adding it to the goal difference. And so once I had all that data, all I had to do was just program everything and then put the result at the bottom here to display. And so we've talked a lot about theory, but does this actually work? And I actually want to test this with you right now. And so we're doing this before the Euros playoff matches, like before the round of 16s. I wish I was able to do this after. Maybe we'll do like an update video, but I'm just going to go through previous results and see how accurate it would have been. So for example, here we have Germany and Scotland. So let's just go here and put in Germany, Scotland, let's just say regular. And I'm going to guess that team A wins. And as you can see down here, it shows that Germany is the winner, but I think that's a pretty obvious one. So let's look at one that's more close. I think that maybe something like Spain and Italy, those two teams are very close in rankings and they're both very competitive teams. So let's say we were, putting it in here. Let's say Spain versus Italy. Honestly, if I was me, I would have probably picked Spain to win this. And if I click it, you can see that Spain, the predicted winner, and obviously Spain is the predicted winner and they actually won. Another one here would be Netherlands and France. And so if we put Netherlands in here, France and Netherlands, regular game, and I would have guessed France winning this. And you can see the predicted winner is France. So we would have gotten that one wrong. And so let's just do one more here. Maybe like, I don't know, England and Slovenia, regular game. I honestly would have thought it would be a draw, but you can still see that England comes out on top here. And honestly, let's just do one more, okay? Let's go with which matchup seems like a closer one over here. Maybe something like Belgium, Romania. Belgium was playing pretty bad. So Belgium, Romania. And at the time, I think Belgium was playing really bad. So I'm going to put Romania as the team to win. And if I click this, you can see, even though we picked Romania to win, all of them were saying that Belgium was going to win that game. And we can see that Belgium actually, they won that game. So you might be asking why you just cut to this random situation. I am recording this right now on the 30th of June. So I'm probably going to upload this tomorrow just because I don't want to miss any of the other games. And there have been a couple of playoff games, 4 to be exact. It was Switzerland, Italy, Germany, Denmark, England, Slovakia, and Spain, Georgia. Like literally everything just happened right now. I just wanted to see how accurate this would have been if we, went on with it. All right. So let's just go with the first one with Switzerland and Italy. And then let's just do a playoff game. And I don't know. I'm being honest, I'm not even trying to be a smartass. I would have thought Switzerland were going to win that game. And let's just see, it predicted Italy was going to win that game. So that is 1 on the losing side. Now let's put in, what is it, Germany and Denmark. And for that, obviously, I think any logical person would have gone with Germany. And there we go. So we're 1 for 1. England versus Denmark, or sorry, Slovakia. It could have been both ways. Like England almost lost that game, so I don't know, I would have just gone with England. So that's 2 and 1. And then finally Spain versus Georgia right here. Spain was obviously going to win that game all day every day, and they obviously will come out on top. The results and what I got out of this is that it's going to be accurate in a lot of the matches. Like if you kind of know what you're doing and you know a lot about soccer and you know the matchups, I think you can utilize this as a tool to make predictions. And I don't know, I developed this in a couple of days, so I want to maybe put more time and effort into this before I actually try to use this. But the one thing I found an issue with this was the closer games and the specific matchups. Like when there's like a good matchup for the underdog, program still outputted that the better team was going to win. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to leave this down below. I'll make the URL public so you can check it out and use it. But please don't do any of the gambling shit. I don't recommend it. Just use this for fun. Make it cool for your friends. Like say, I think this team's gonna win. Use it like that. Don't gamble, okay? But yeah, if you want to build cool shit and build stuff like this, then I'll leave my platform down below. There's like free stuff on learning specific things about programming and how to build cool stuff. So if you want to know how, then I'll leave that down below. Like and subscribe, please. It would really go a long way. Happy coding, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.